Good morning. Is this working? Good morning. My name is Dee Malone, and I am a proud member of the Celebrate One team. For 3 decades, I've been a member of First Church of God, where Bishop Timothy Joseph Clark is our senior pastor. Bishop mandated that we would call this house the City of Refuge, and I am not only a proud member of our Celebrate One team, but proud of the partnership forged between Bishop Clark and our mayor. And so it's on his behalf that I welcome you to the Real People, Real Stories 2017 Safe Sleep campaign. So on behalf of Bishop Clark in his absence, I ask that you stand with me as we welcome my mayor, Mayor Andrew Ginther, to the podium.
Good morning, and what a great day in the city of Columbus. So thrilled to be here and want to say thank you to Bishop Clark and the amazing congregation here at First Church for hosting us this morning and for giving us the gift of Dee and the amazing things she's doing in Columbus neighborhoods to have an impact in the lives of young people. I see my good friend and my co-conspirator of this movement, Dr. Art James there in the back. Dr. James, it's great to see you, and thanks for helping to be an instigator with me and with this Celebrate One movement here in Columbus. He's leading some critically important work across the state with communities, but it was Dr. James and Dr. Long and some amazing leaders, the doctors Gabby Squared, that really helped us launch this effort several years ago, and so proud of the work that we're doing. Grateful for Ken Wilson, the county administrator, representing the county commissioners being here today. They've been tremendous partners to us and with us through this process. The state of Ohio, the governor and the First Lady. The First Lady has been very involved and committed to our work here, and the Department of Medicaid and the Ohio Department of Health as well for their support. And, you know, it's important for us, and we're going to hear from them this morning, of the parents who have suffered the loss of young ones, their courage to be willing to share their story, to help us improve the lives of our youngest citizens and their families in neighborhoods throughout our great city. And to Shanae and Nathan, I'm grateful for them, for their courage, their commitment to make sure that we do everything we can to make sure that every child born in this community is able to celebrate their first birthday and thrive into their earliest years of life. For many young people, today is the first day of school. I know I sent my first grader off this morning, and for some it's the very first day of pre-K or kindergarten. And that's a pretty big milestone. I know it was in our household. But there's an important milestone that happens before that, one that we are committed to seeing each child reach their first birthday. As you know, Central Ohio has one of the highest infant mortality rates in the country. In Franklin County, 3 families lose a baby every week. We know that every year in this county, 150 babies die before their first birthday, and that African American babies die at 2 times the rate of white babies. So in 2014, I convened the Greater Columbus Infant Mortality Task Force, which consisted of leadership from various entities to get an understanding of why infants are dying in Central Ohio at such alarming rates. There are cities that are larger, more diverse, and poorer than Columbus that had half the infant mortality rates that we do. After 6 months, the task force released its final report to Franklin County residents. The report underscored 8 recommendations to reduce the community's infant mortality rate by 40%. It is one of the biggest, most bold and ambitious goals in the country. Reduce our infant mortality rate by 40% and cut the racial disparity in half by 2020. This is Columbus. And when you bring together the state, the county, the city, our public and private partners, you can set these bold, ambitious goals. And we're so excited that we are starting to see an interruption of a 50-year trend where these alarming rates continue to grow. So today we are excited to share with you another milestone in this process. We're excited to see some of the positive change that we've been working so hard on the last couple of years. But make no mistake about it. It is time for us to step up our efforts and create a new sense of urgency now that we know some of these critical strategies are starting to make a difference in the lives of young people. From that task force, Celebrate One was born to carry out the recommendations and ensure Franklin County meets its ambitious goal. We know that through education and outreach, we can reduce the number of babies dying in our community before they reach their first birthdays, and to ensure that they are thriving into their early years of life. During this year's State of the City address, I recommitted to achieving those goals. I made the director of Celebrate One part of my cabinet and appointed Erica Clark-Jones to that position. I also announced that we would train 500 residents as Safe Sleep Ambassadors by the end of this year, because we know that educating mothers and fathers on safe sleep practices are one of the keys to making sure that babies live to celebrate their first birthdays. We know there are many factors that lead to infant deaths, and unsafe sleep practices are a core factor in infant deaths. Safe sleep deaths are preventable, and we can do something about it. Today, you will hear the latest statistics on the progress we are making with Celebrate One, and you will have the chance to see our new campaign that promotes safe sleep for our babies. I want to thank Franklin County for their commitment. They have been an incredible partner throughout this entire process. The commissioners, county administrator, Ken Wilson and his team. We are helping to provide significant resources on the public side to challenge the private sector to help match us, because we're tackling this effort the way we have some of the biggest challenges in our community across the board, and that is the Columbus way, because I think we do public-private partnerships better than anybody in America. That's when you can set one of the most bold, ambitious goals in the country and rally a community, state, county, local leaders, private sector leaders. Our health systems have all been critically important to helping us interrupt this damning trend that we've seen with our youngest citizens for decades. We have started the interruption, but there's no time to waste, and there's no time for us to pat ourselves on the back. The need is real. The urgency is real. And so today, we share stories. We rededicate ourselves to this effort, but we know it's going to take all of us. We have great corporate leaders from American Electric Power and Nationwide, the United Healthcare Foundation, all have been critical partners, but we need more private sector support. And so today, in addition to all those great partners in our health systems and the public sector, we put out a new call for the private sector in this community to step up and invest in this most fantastic interruption. What could be more exciting than interrupting a trend that has defined our community for decades and giving every child in every neighborhood that's born in this community the chance to reach their first birthday and thrive into their early years of life? So I'm grateful that so many great partners, I didn't mention Huntington or the Worthington Industries Foundation, who have all stepped up, but we need more private sector champions and funders. I know where the state is, I know where the county is, I know where this city is. And we've had some great private sector leadership and commitment, but we need more to reach families, and our youngest citizens throughout this great city. So as I mentioned before, the county has been instrumental in this work from the very beginning. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our great partner, the County Administrator, Mr. Ken Wilson.
Thank you, Mayor Ginther, and all our partners at the local and state level, as well as our sponsor. Mayor Ginther, your dedication and leadership in this area, I so much very admire, truly. The mayor's, we're glad to be a proud partner in the mayor's commitment to reducing infant mortality in Central Ohio. The Board of Commissioners, President John O'Grady, Marilyn Brown, and Kevin L. Boyce, we've had a long-standing commitment to combating the infant mortality, from the creation of Ohio Better Birth Outcomes to the Infant Mortality Task Force, and now Celebrate One. That spirit of collaboration is strong at the department level as well. Our Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services touches the lives of more than a quarter of our residents, thousands of young children, mothers, and families, and plays a critical role as a Celebrate One lead entity. Our director, Joyce Bivens, is here today to echo that commitment of Franklin County Board of Commissioners and its agencies in combating this community issue. The Franklin County Department of Job and Family Services prioritizes and expedites income and Medicaid applications for pregnant women, no matter how they are submitted. Works with locally qualified entities, hospitals, federally qualified health centers to streamline the processes and improve access to prenatal care for expectant mothers. Job and Family Services staff takes part in outreach events all throughout this community, totaling more than 30 outreach events last year alone, helping connect eligible residents with Medicaid health coverage, food assistance, and more. Conducts Medicaid 101 training sessions for Celebrate One community connectors and welcoming connectors on site at our 3 opportunity centers to engage with our customers each month. The county committed nearly $1 million yesterday towards this effort, a combination of general fund and TANF funding towards this effort. We are truly dedicated towards this purpose. This commitment is just the latest reflection of the Commissioner's commitment to supporting Celebrate One, as well as grassroots neighborhood-driven initiatives across Franklin County. I now am proud to introduce a true partner with Franklin County in a number of public health efforts, and a true hero of mine in the area of public health, and has been a mentor in this area as educating a fiscal guy and administrator in the public health arena, Dr. Teresa Long, Columbus Public Health Department.
Good morning. I have a summer cold, so he cannot shake my hand or get a hug. None of you, please. It's different for me. I'm usually the huggy one, but not today. So good morning, everyone, and thank you. Some I didn't get to say good morning to specifically, so good morning to you all. Mayor Ginther, both good morning, but thank you. Thank you for being such a true, real, and ongoing champion of this effort. Ken, to you, thank you. Joy Bivens, who directs Franklin County Job and Family Services, to you and your colleagues. You have been true, both lead entities, but key partners in how we improve the lives of children and families in this community, so thank you. And again, thank you to all of our partners. Some of them are represented here. You too are critical in our achieving the goals that our mayor has just stated. Columbus Public Health, and again, I'm very proud that we have been an early partner in the city's and our community's efforts to reduce infant mortality, from the very formation of the Greater Columbus Infant Mortality Task Force that Mayor Ginther referred to the launch, and obviously to the continued comprehensive, critical programming and all of the efforts of Celebrate One. So again, we are very proud of that, but it is also a core part of our work in public health. Infant mortality is an indicator of the health and the well-being of cities, of states, of nations, and as you've heard, our city has not fared well. And so indeed, it is a core public health function for us to both track and monitor that, but also to provide leadership and programs that will improve the health and safety of our moms, of our infants, our moms-to-be, of course the babies, and then all of our families. So that's why we support and are so eager and committed to the work of Celebrate One and its collaborative efforts. It is only through collaboration that we will achieve those goals of reduction of infant mortality and cut those racial disparities that really tear at our hearts. We know it will take a wide range of our community partners, and some are here, but obviously it is a much bigger group, and we need to continue to expand both the individual connections, but obviously our partnership connections, coming together, bringing our expertise and experience so that all babies reach their first birthdays. One way we support this is through data. Our team of epidemiologists work every day to provide us with up-to-date and in-depth reports with respect to how we're tracking the problem and informing our work. Erica will be sharing some important information with you in a few minutes, our Executive Director of Celebrate One. We also support at Columbus Public Health Celebrate One through educational efforts focused on the ABCs of safe sleep. You will hear more about that. Together with Celebrate One, we launched the Safe Sleep Ambassador initiative that Mayor Ginther has just referred to, again, to help our residents and all of our partners spread the word about safe sleep in our community. We also have led, as a part of that effort around safe sleep, the crib distribution for families in need through many partnerships. People can call. We hope they will call 311. We have 30 community agencies and partners that are supporting us in seeing that every family and every mom, and of course every infant that has a need for a safe place to sleep has that, and has that for the very next night. We also have supported, again, educational marketing campaigns to raise awareness around safe sleep issues and safe sleep practices for nearly 4 years. But this that you will hear about, of course, is what we're so excited about, because today we will launch a new educational campaign which focuses on real people and real stories, the real people and real stories who've experienced this issue in our community. So in just a moment, you will hear from 2 of our brave spokespeople who are featured in this campaign, Shanae Scott Miller and Nathan Hurd. Shanae and Nathan, thank you. Thank you for your courage in sharing your stories, but yes, your tragic stories for this campaign. In many focus groups, we learned that people need to hear the real stories to make a real change in how we sleep and care for our infants. It will, I believe, your sharing of your stories will make a difference for babies and families in our community. We also have with us today Dr. Janice James, a pediatrician with Nationwide Children's Hospital. Thank you, Dr. James, for sharing your expertise and playing a key part in this new campaign as well. Our 4th person who is in the campaign, who you will meet, is an expectant mother, Victoria Nunez. Unfortunately, she cannot be with us here today per doctor's orders. She's about to have a baby. So that's good news. But again, we also appreciate her and thank her so much for helping to raise awareness about this important issues of the ABCs of safe sleep. We are inspired and grateful to each of you and to all of you for sharing your experiences and for being a part of this campaign. So with that, we can together reduce the preventable infant deaths in our community, and I thank you. I thank you from the depths of my heart. And so now, to move us forward, one of our spokespersons and a friend, Shanae Scott Miller. Shanae.
No hugs. Good morning, everybody. I'm here to basically put a face to the numbers. I know everybody hears statistics and, about the numbers of the babies. Well, I'm a mother of one of the babies that we lost back in 2013. And as a mother's very first job is to protect their baby, and I feel like I did everything right, prenatal appointments, the medication, everything. I started very early with that. And up until July 24th, 2013, I felt very blessed and very lucky. That Tuesday evening, we went to bed. I was actually putting her to bed, but I laid her next to me, as I do all the time, spending, bonding, staring at her just in awe. As a first-time mother, I was happy, excited, but I was tired. I'm sure other moms can relate. I was tired. And her bassinet was right next to the bed, but I ended up falling asleep, and so did she. And that following morning when I woke up, she did not wake up with me. I performed CPR, and my little sister was there to help me and assist me, and she was actually able to call the ambulance for me, but it was already too late. So participating in this campaign, I'm trying to bring awareness to safe sleep and how important it is, because something as simple as her laying in the bed next to me changed my life forever. And I would do anything to have her here with me now. But she's not, and my biggest goal is to make sure her story is heard, to put a face to all the numbers you hear, and so that everybody knows it's a really big deal. It's really big. I have another parent here with me, and he's pretty awesome. I met him for the first time today. But as parents, like I said, you want to be able to protect your child. And I want to make sure no other family has to go through what my family had to deal with back 4 years ago. So, Will. This is Will, you guys.
Good morning. My name is Nathan Hurd, and my son, baby Will, was 82 days old, and the babysitter put him down for his nap, and he just didn't wake up. It was in 2009. I could talk with you about how horrible that was, and that's important, but you can imagine. It's your worst fear. What I'd rather focus on is this evolution of my grief. 2009, I'm coming up on 10 years now, and it's really hard for me to, get my mind around that. But I think there's some important learnings in there, and I want to share those with you. In the very beginning, I rushed in to build awareness. And I got to be honest with you, it felt good. It felt like, hey, this is something I can do. And I put a lot of heart and soul into that, and I encourage everyone to do so. But now as I've had a chance to reflect on that, I start to probe more on, well, what exactly does it take to build awareness? What's that going to require to do that and do that very well? And I think it comes down to several really critical things. Shanae touched on one of them. We've got to put a face on safe sleep. I think it's such a horrible thing. It's like a bad accident. Those of us who have not been impacted by it, our natural defense mechanism is to look away. It's horrible. The reality is, we are your neighbors. We are your everyday people. We just so happen to have experienced this terrible thing involved with a child dying during sleep. And there's a lot of us out there. As Mayor Ginther indicated, it's disturbing. It's an incredibly high number. In addition to putting a name or a face with this idea of safe sleep, I think it's also critical that we need to define exactly what are we talking about, and we have to do it in very tangible terms. I mean, the ABCs of safe sleep, they make a lot of sense. It's easy to remember. When we think about an unsafe sleep environment, I bet you think about deplorable conditions, and you should. You shouldn't put kids in deplorable conditions. The reality is, a bed seems like a safe place, and a crib seems like a safe place. Little animals seem like safe things. This seemingly innocent little blanket was with my son Will when he died. I bet this is not what you thought about when you conjure up an image of an unsafe sleep environment. This is a really critical part of building awareness in an effective way. We have to let people understand it's not the really bad things. It's the seemingly innocent things that we need to protect against, so that all babies are put to sleep alone on their backs in an empty crib for every sleep. I can't thank the people who've been involved with this enough, and we're in it for 2020. You heard the goals. This is not going to be easy. The last thing that we need, more than anything else, in my opinion, is the frequency of our message. People hear this, but I don't know about you, sometimes I just got to hear it again, and then I need to recall that in the moment of execution. I need to recall that in a moment when I need that information. That's only going to happen with frequency, and that's why we need a campaign, and that's why we need to get the message out. So thank you for your time, and thank you to all my partners in this fight, not the least of which is the Executive Director of Celebrate One, Erica Clark-Jones.
Good morning. I think it goes without saying that I am humbled and honored to be able to lead our coalition of partners in this work. This is not the job of one agency. It's the job of all of our agencies, and even those folks that don't know, they're a part of the solution. So thank you. I want to thank both Nathan and Shanae, not only for your courage to share your stories, but your leadership in this space. It takes some bravery to be so public about this, and I can't thank you enough for that. I'd also like to express additional gratitude to Bishop Timothy Clark and the First Church of God community for hosting us today. In addition, Mayor Ginther, for your tireless effort, your tireless advocacy to identify and reinvent new ways of connecting Central Ohio mothers to support and interrupting this trend. I love that language, and I'm going to use that because that's exactly what we're going to do. I would also like to thank the Franklin County Commissioners, Ken Wilson, Director Joy Bivens, for their leadership and their partnership. We appreciate it. We can't do it without you. I'd like to thank the Columbus Public Health team, led by my friend, my colleague, Dr. Teresa Long, for helping to be a tireless partner. And you mentioned it in your 4 years of working in this space, just specifically on the advanced safe sleep efforts, for your diligence and your effective efforts as a central point for the Celebrate One Safe Sleep initiatives. Additional gratitude go to our corporate partners for helping to make this campaign professional and memorable and long-standing. We cannot do this without you. I'd like to thank our community connectors, I know there are several in the audience, for making this work real on behalf of our families in the neighborhoods every day. And I'd also like to thank our Celebrate One staff. These folks go above and beyond to bring all of these parts together, so thank you. So the numbers. Over the last 2 years, on average, every other week in Franklin County, we've lost infants due to unsafe sleep practices. And most often these deaths are preventable, as you heard the mayor say. For a deeper dive into the data that Dr. Long was referencing, in 2015, we had 19 safe sleep related deaths, 9 of them in Celebrate One neighborhoods. In 2016, we had a spike to 26 infant sleep related deaths, 17 of which were in Celebrate One neighborhoods. To date, in 2017, we've experienced 7 deaths, 6 of which in Celebrate One neighborhoods. The good news is that infant deaths attributed to unsafe sleep in Franklin County are down significantly from the same time last year. While the numbers to date represent an improvement over last year at this time, we at Celebrate One are not satisfied. 1 infant sleep-related death is 1 too many. We know that safe sleep-related deaths are preventable, and for this reason, we have several strategies in place to focus in on educating and supporting families and infant caregivers about infant safe sleep practices. First and foremost, the community connectors. We have now 46 community connectors trained to work in 8 different neighborhoods across our city and connect parents to resources and walk alongside pregnant and parenting women and families. Crib distribution channels. We have at least 36 community distribution points, and we are distributing more safe sleep environments than we ever have. Our safe sleep ambassadors. Last year we did a phenomenal job at educating over 300 safe sleep ambassadors, but we want to meet the mayor's challenge of making sure we educate 500 more in the calendar year from February 2017 to February 2018. Additionally, we are doing barbershop and beauty salon outreach. We expect 12 to 16 barbershops and beauty salons and their employees to train. We're going to train them to begin conversations with mothers and fathers and expecting women and women of childbearing age. And then our faith-based engagements, part of the reason why we're here today. With the help of Central Benefits Foundation, we have been blessed to have Dee Malone on our staff. But also, Dr. Charles Booth sits on our Celebrate One Executive Committee, and they have designated September as, every Sunday in September as a Safe Sleep Sunday for our participating congregations. So we hope to have over 30 congregations participating in this effort. In the fall of 2015, Celebrate One launched an awareness campaign, almost 2 years ago, to highlight the dangers of unsafe infant sleep practices. And with that campaign, we increased the awareness of the ABCs of safe sleep. Babies should sleep alone, on their backs, and in an empty crib. That campaign was a success. Currently, when we ask parents and caregivers if they know the ABCs of safe sleep, they recite them. They know them. They understand them. But Celebrate One, with the help of our partners, has found that all families don't practice them. And so with this campaign, we've not only raised the level of awareness of what the ABCs of safe sleep are, but who should practice them, when they should be practiced, and why they should be practiced. This campaign, in a sense, is focused on compliance, moving people from awareness to action, having people practice safe sleep behaviors every nap, every night, every time. Today, we're launching our new education and outreach campaign that we call Real People, Real Stories, and our approach is steamed in research. What we learned from best practices and from our focus groups is that people want to hear from people with whom they can relate. They want to hear real stories from real families. We probed experts in Baltimore, Cincinnati, and other cities that have had success in reducing sleep-related infant deaths in their communities. So we're not alone. We have company and we're inspired by this. We also talked with Columbus families to learn what we could do to get them to use safer infant sleep practices. So this campaign, at this time, I would like to share some of the elements of our Real People, Real Stories campaign. Our approach features Shanae Scott Miller, Nathan Hurd, Victoria Calderon, and Dr. Janice James. In a multimedia mix of elements, our team prefers to call this surround sound, making sure that we blanket the community with information and messaging about compliance. The campaign includes billboards and bench advertisements located in priority neighborhoods, print advertising, radio advertising, posters, hot cards, church fans, a digital campaign that has enhanced website features. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Pandora, Spotify. We're even using Coda with in-bus audio systems and digital advertising. A full-length video and video vignettes featuring Shanae, Nathan, Victoria, and Dr. James is also a part of the campaign. We are partnering with local organizations, hospitals, clinics, beauty salons, barbershops, and other entities to play the video in their offices, in their lobbies, and on their digital screens in their waiting rooms, so that we can blanket the community with these real stories from our featured families. We have 36 community-based partners distributing cribs, 8 partners serving as video deployment locations, sharing safe sleep information with clients and staff, and in the coming weeks, 12 to 16 barbershops will have the video in their waiting areas as well. Today we're launching 3 billboards and 4 bus ads in neighborhoods most impacted by infant mortality. Again, we have used research and best practice data to help guide the content of our video. We believe the video will help foster a real understanding of the importance in the practice of safe sleep, while getting families and caregivers to sleep their babies alone on their backs and in an empty crib. Please, take a look.
My name is Shanae Scott, and I have 2 girls. I have an angel baby and a rainbow baby, Jaya and Jayana. Jaya is my firstborn that I had in June of 2013. She was my first baby, and she's an angel now.
My name is Nathan Hurd, and my wife Michelle and I live in Columbus with our 4 wonderful boys.
My usual routine is to watch her as she falls asleep. She fell asleep next to me in the bed, and I watched her sleep until I fell asleep. The next morning when I woke up, I realized I had slept a little bit longer than usual. And when I, woke up talking to Jaya, she wasn't awake. And once I realized, I picked her up, she wasn't breathing. I hollered down for my sister to come up and help me, and I began to do CPR on her. Never share the bed with your baby. If you need a crib, Columbus Public Health can help. Call 614-645-3111.
It was the worst day of my life. I was at work on a Friday afternoon, and I got a frantic phone call from my wife at the babysitter's. I rushed to my car and started home and got a call on the way that says he didn't make it. So when I arrived at the babysitter, it was crazy. There were fire trucks and ambulances and police cars and neighbors and people and kids, and he was sleeping with this seemingly innocent little blanket, and he never woke up. I believe this blanket played a key role in that. Essentially, this blanket meant that my son was sleeping in an unsafe sleep environment, which sounds crazy because this is just a simple, innocent little blanket. We bought one of these for each of our children, and no one had any problems with it, but for some reason, my baby Will had some underlying vulnerability in his brain that caused him to not respond when this blanket was covering his face.
Your baby's crib must be empty. No blankets, no toys, no stuffed animals, nothing. Follow the ABCs of safe sleep: alone, back, and in an empty crib.
My name is Dr. Janice James. I am a general pediatrician at Nationwide Children's Hospital. I am also an assistant clinical professor in our Department of Ambulatory Pediatrics.
Hello, how are you?
Safe sleep is extremely important, and understanding safe sleep saves lives. Things that I like for families to remember is, number one, the baby needs to sleep alone. So if you have twins, if you have triplets, if you have multiple gestations, then every baby needs its own crib.
Protect your baby. Follow the ABCs of safe sleep: alone, back, and in an empty crib. Every nap, every night, every time.
My name is Victoria Calderon Nunes, and my husband Pedro and I have a 3-year-old toddler. His name is Daniel, and we also have a little one we're expecting on the way. One of the most important things that I've learned about safe sleep, and it goes against a lot of cultural norms, is making sure that the baby is sleeping alone on his or her back and in a crib. Because a lot of times we're naturally inclined to want to hold our babies close to us, especially when it's time for sleeping, because if you're breastfeeding, it's just more natural and easier, but it's actually safer for the baby to be in its own space.
Alone means nothing else should be in that crib. So no blankets, no toys, no stuffed animals, no bumper pads. When the baby is on its stomach, now the air tube is on the bottom, the food tube, the esophagus, is on the top, and so when a baby spits up, the food can go right into the airway and cause the baby to choke. It can block the airway. It increases the risk, I should say, of the baby aspirating. So that is why we recommend that the baby always be on his or her back, every time, all the time, no exception.
Safe sleep definitely means making sure that our baby has the best possible chance at life, And what has been more instinctive for me to keep my baby close to me in bed, it's really forced me to challenge myself and make sure that the baby is next to me, beside me, and the pack and play is what works well for my family.
Babies who sleep with a parent are 3 times more likely to die than babies who sleep alone, on their backs, and in an empty crib.
Oftentimes, parents will keep the babies in bed because parents are just fatigued. And what I recommend is to have the bassinet, especially for a very young infant under 2 months, right by the bed, so that if you begin to get tired, put the baby on the back.
Make no exceptions. Share the room, but never the bed.
People think that this happens to other people. The reality is it could happen to you.
As a family, me, my sister, my fiance, my daughter, we go out there. Every spring we go out there and plant flowers and put out little spring type items. And we sit out there as a family and like plant and make it really pretty, like make it a little memorial around her headstone, not just a headstone. As a mother, your very first job is to keep your child safe. And if I could change anything, I would go back that night and make sure I did everything as a mother to keep my child safe so she could still be here today and to meet her sister. So please, please, please just follow the ABCs of Safe Sleep. If you need a crib, Columbus Public Health can help. Call 614-645-3111 to get a free crib. For more support and information on promoting healthy sleep habits for your baby, visit celebrate1.info.
I think it goes without saying that we thank both Shanae and Nathan and Dr. James and Victoria for being a part of helping to change the trajectory for families in Central Ohio regarding sleeping infants safely. So thank you. Please join me in acknowledging them once more. At this time, I'd like to invite the mayor to join me at the podium, if you could, please. And I'd also like to acknowledge our partners that are here in the room. We have several of our Celebrate One partners that we cannot do this work without. One of our tireless, just stalwart partners in the community for safe sleep efforts is the Columbus Kappas, and Nathaniel Jordan is here representing them. Thank you so much. Additionally, Jeff Klingler is here representing the Central Ohio Hospital Council. We can't get the video shown without your docs, so thank you so much for being with us. I'd also like to thank the media team and the production team for producing what you saw today and executing our campaign, and I want to thank Paul Worth and the Saunders Company for this very impactful campaign.
So as we mentioned, this, all the research and everything that we've studied, we needed to have real people, real stories, to connect with expecting moms and moms of childbearing age and dads and family members, grandparents, others who may have put their kids to bed differently in times past based on history, what was thought best practice, maybe the way their family handled things. And so we needed real people, real stories. But we also understand the courage that it takes for these amazing neighbors of ours to step forward and share those stories. And so we wanted to thank them here today and share with them some small tokens of appreciation from our community to Nathan and to Shanae for sharing their stories.
So at this time, this concludes our event today. Please feel free to come and talk to our participants of the campaign and thank our partners. We appreciate you being here today.